Hello and welcome to Japan Lyric Room.
It's great to be here.
In this show, we take our time to savor the lyrics of Japanese songs, clearly explaining the meanings hidden within the phrases and their unique Japanese cultural backgrounds.
And today's track is an absolute masterpiece for this kind of lyrical analysis. I am so glad you're joining us today because the scenario I just described with the nightclub, that is exactly what millions of people have been doing for over a decade.
Oh, absolutely.
We are looking at Senbonzakura, or Thousand Cherry Trees, featuring the Vocaloid Hatsune Miku.
Such an iconic song.
Created by the musical unit White Flame, which is centered around the legendary Kurusa P, it was first uploaded to Niku Niku Doga back on September 17th, 2011.
It is, without a doubt, a true cornerstone of modern Japanese music history.
Yeah, completely.
But, you know, our mission today requires us to actually put on the brakes a bit.
Okay, how so?
Well, we're going to look right past that incredibly catchy, fast-paced rhythm that made the song a viral phenomenon.
Which is hard to do. I mean, the beat is so good.
It really is. But our goal today is to carefully examine 7 specific phrases, unpacking them one by one.
Right.
We want to uncover the historical contradictions and the surprisingly dark, almost nihilistic themes hiding right beneath its slashy surface.
I am so ready to unpack this. But before we even touch the text, I feel like we have to address the elephant in the room.
The music itself.
Exactly. The melody of Senbonzakura is essentially a form of psychological camouflage, isn't it?
That is precisely how it functions, yes.
It sweeps you up so completely that you don't even think to analyze the words. You're just dancing.
Yeah, and it does that using a very specific musical mechanism called the Yonanuki scale.
The Yonanuki scale. Okay, I've heard that term thrown around in music theory circles, but what does it actually do to the listener's brain?
Well, the Yonanuki scale is a pentatonic scale, meaning it uses only 5 notes instead of the usual 7.
Right, pentatonic, 5 notes.
Specifically, it completely removes the 4th note, the fa, and the 7th note, the shi or ti, from the standard major scale.
Okay, so you're just left with do, re, mi, sol, la.
Exactly, just those 5.
Okay, I hear what you're saying about the missing notes, but why does dropping 2 notes suddenly hijack our emotions and make us lower our guard?
It all comes down to musical tension.
Tension.
Yeah. In Western music, those specific missing notes, the 4th and the 7th, are half steps.
Oh, okay.
They create dissonance, you know, a subtle musical tension that our ears naturally want to hear resolved.
Oh, I see. So by removing them.
By removing them entirely, the Yonanuki scale eliminates that tension. It creates an open, floating, unresolved melody that the Japanese ear instantly recognizes.
Wait, instantly?
Yeah, because for centuries, this exact 5-note structure has been the backbone of traditional folk songs.
Yeah.
And later, it became huge in enka and J-pop.
Oh, wow. So it bypasses logic entirely.
It triggers a deep, almost cellular sense of nostalgia.
So it's not just a catchy beat, it's literal acoustic manipulation.
Very much.
It's sonic comfort food that makes you feel safe.
Sonic comfort food, I love that.
And the global reach of this specific sonic comfort food is just staggering, right?
Oh, it long ago transcended being just a Vocaloid track.
Right. I mean, you have the legendary cover by enka singer Sachiko Kobayashi.
Ah, yes. She brought this immense traditional gravitas to it.
Yeah. And then you've got modern charting covers by top artists today like Otto.
And of course, we have to mention the explosive Wagaki band cover.
Oh, absolutely. They fused heavy rock guitars with traditional Japanese instruments.
Exactly. The shakuhachi flute, the shamisen, the koto, the wodaiko drums.
Just an incredible mix. By 2024, that single video had racked up over 170 million views on YouTube alone.
It's wild. Add to that the rhythm game project Sekai, or Prosec.
Oh, yeah, that cemented the song's global reach in over 130 countries.
It's even set to win the 2025 Music Award Japan for Best Vocaloid Culture Song.
It is undeniably a worldwide phenomenon.
But here is the pivot we need to make.
Okay, I'm ready.
That upbeat Yonanuki scale perfectly masks the song's core theme. The lyrics are actually a heavy commentary on the dazzling but deeply contradictory nature of Japan's modernization.
Right.
Now, before we explore the specific words, we need to establish a firm boundary for you listening at home.
Definitely an important disclaimer here.
The lyrics contain historical and political themes, references to war, military expansion, things like that.
Right.
We must impartially report on these motifs as artistic interpretations of the song. We are explicitly not taking sides or endorsing any viewpoint, nor is this the official political stance of the creator, White Flame or Kurusa P. This is strictly an exploration of lyrical themes.
A vital reminder as we start savoring the lyrics carefully. Let's pull back the curtain. The very first phrase we're looking at drops the mask immediately, doesn't it?
It really does. Which translates to, boldly and fearlessly, a Haikara Revolution.
And the cultural nuance here, I want to read this exactly, is diving fearlessly into the glamorous wave of the Haikara Revolution, the rapid westernization that reshaped Japan.
Right. To really grasp this, we have to understand that word, Haikara.
It sounds a bit like English, actually.
Because it is. It's a phonetic adaptation of the English words high collar.
Like literally the high collars on Western men's shirts?
Exactly. During the Meiji and Taisho eras, starting in the late 19th century, Japan opened its borders after centuries of isolation.
Right, a massive historical shift.
Haikara became the trendy buzzword for people who embraced Western-style fashion, architecture, and lifestyles.
Imagine the visual whiplash on the streets, though.
Oh, it was intense. You had samurai cutting off their top knot.
Right, and people wearing tailored suits and bowler hats walking past ancient wooden shrines, gas lamps lighting up dirt roads.
It really visually represents the birth of a modern nation.
But the lyrics pair this glamorous Haikara Revolution with the phrase boldly and fearlessly. It sounds triumphant, but there's a historical cost to that rapid modernization, right? It wasn't just about fashion.
Far from it. That same drive for rapid westernization brought about the national policy of Fukoku Kyohei.
And what does that translate to?
It means enrich the state, strengthen the armed forces. The modernization was a direct pivot toward rapid military expansion.
Wow. It's like building a pristine modern skyscraper, but pouring the foundation over an active fault line.
That's a really stark analogy.
You're celebrating the gleaming glass, completely ignoring the structural danger right below you.
And that brings us perfectly to phrase 2, where the song points a spotlight directly at that fault line.
Let's read it.
The English translation is, open-hearted and upright anti-war nation.
And here is the exact cultural nuance. A nation that boldly proclaims itself as anti-war with an open and upright attitude. Yet, behind these clean, grand words lies an inescapable contradiction.
Let's break down the word. Raira-kuraku.
It's a mouthful.
It is. Visually, the kanji characters depict large stones piling up stably, one on top of the other.
Okay, stones piling up.
Metaphorically, it describes someone who is broad-minded, completely unbothered, and open-hearted.
Wait, how do you pile up heavy stones and stay unbothered? To me, that sounds incredibly burdensome.
And that is the exact contradiction the lyricist is playing with.
Oh, I see.
The song is describing a nation acting completely carefree and upright, proudly calling itself an anti-war nation, while standing on top of a massive, heavy pile of historical stones.
Right, and those stones represent the weight of the military expansion we just talked about.
Exactly.
So it's not just sweeping dirt under a rug, it's like standing on a mountain of complicated, violent history, smiling brightly and declaring to the world, hey, we've always been peaceful.
The cognitive dissonance there is massive.
It really is a profound historical irony.
But the song doesn't just critique the past. It abruptly fast-forwards.
Yeah, it slams these ancient Japanese concepts directly into terrifying modern realities.
The whiplash in phrase 3 is honestly jarring.
It is.
The English translation is, evil spirits disperse, ICBM.
And the exact cultural nuance here is the juxtaposition of Akuryo Taisan, an ancient exorcism prayer, and the ICBM, intercontinental ballistic missile. A contrast between spiritual salvation and scientific destruction.
If you visit a traditional shrine in Japan, you might hear the phrase, Akuryo Taisan.
Right.
It is a deeply traditional spiritual plea to drive away invisible evil or misfortune. A prayer for peace and purity.
But here, the lyricist slams it directly into ICBM.
Yeah.
I have to admit, when I first read this, I was totally thrown. An intercontinental ballistic missile in a song about cherry blossoms and high collars.
It feels absurd, doesn't it?
It's like trying to cure a catastrophic computer virus by burning sage in the server room.
That absurdity is exactly the point.
Oh, man.
We have advanced so far scientifically that we have created the ultimate weapon of physical, visible destruction. A thermonuclear missile that could end the world.
Right.
Yet in the face of our own terrifying technology, what do? We revert to an ancient, helpless prayer. It highlights the absolute helplessness of the modern citizen.
Wow, we build weapons we can't control and then pray to gods we can't see to save us from them.
It is incredibly dark.
And that theme of being detached from the reality of war takes an even stranger turn in phrase 4.
It does. The translation is, boys and girls, unparalleled in the Sengoku period.
And the cultural nuance is this. For today's youth, the tragic battlefields of the past have been reduced to mere game stages consumed as entertainment.
We need to contextualize the Sengoku period for a moment.
Okay.
This was Japan's age of warring states, running roughly from the late 15th to the early 17th century.
The era of the samurai.
Right, but it wasn't just a romantic era of samurai. It was a century of brutal, unending civil war, famine, and betrayal.
But the phrase here, Sengoku Musou, Engoku Musou, isn't just a historical reference, is it?
No, it's the exact Japanese title of a massively popular hack-and-slash video game franchise by Koei Tecmo.
The one known in the West as Samurai Warriors.
Exactly.
So you have boys and girls sitting in their comfortable living rooms mashing buttons to rack up 1,000 combo hits against digital samurai.
Yep. Real, historical, trauma-actual bloodshed that shaped the nation has been sanitized.
It's been packaged and gamified. On one hand, you could say it's a blessing that modern youth don't know the reality of war.
That's true.
But on the other hand, what happens when history just becomes a narrative? Like a literal game stage you just play through and forget?
That is the critical question. If our history is just a digital playground, where does that leave our present reality?
It's a scary thought.
The song suggests that by gamifying our past and hiding behind our technological comforts, we have actually trapped ourselves. Let's look at phrase 5.
Let's do it.
The translation is, this place is a banquet, a steel cage looking down from that guillotine.
And the exact cultural nuance we are given is this glamorous banquet society is actually a steel cage from which there is no escape. Looking down from the guillotine, the symbol of state violence.
Notice the layers of imagery here. First, the banquet.
Right, the party.
The banquet is the very song you are listening to. It's the flashing lights, the 170 million views, the rapid-fire internet culture we all consume. It looks like a party.
But the lyric reveals that this party is taking place inside a steel cage.
Exactly.
And then you introduce the guillotine. That is such a specific, brutal symbol from the French Revolution.
It is the ultimate representation of inescapable state power and public execution.
Right. When you map that historical irony onto modern society, the guillotine represents, like, societal pressure, constant surveillance, or even cancel culture.
We are all dancing at this dazzling digital party, completely distracted.
But we are locked in a cage, and the blade is hanging right over our necks.
We're trapped by the very systems we built to entertain ourselves.
And if you think the scope of a steel cage is suffocating, phrase 6 zooms out to a terrifying degree.
It really expands the scope. The translation is 3,000 worlds, eternal darkness.
And the specific cultural nuances, the entire infinite universe, or the vast digital network, is shrouded in an eternal, dawnless darkness.
The term Senbonzakura comes from ancient Buddhist cosmology.
Okay.
It's a way to describe the vast, infinite, expansive universe, all realms of existence.
And the other half.
Tokoyo no Yami translates to a profound, eternal darkness that will never see the light of dawn.
To bring that into the modern context, the infinite universe of today is the internet, right?
Yes, the vast digital network.
We literally hold a 3,000 world scale of information in the palms of our hands. We are connected 24/7 to billions of people.
But instead of enlightenment, we are drowning in an eternal darkness of information overload.
We scroll endlessly through a void where no one is truly seen or saved.
It is an incredibly lonely kind of infinity.
Yeah, you are trapped in the steel cage of society, floating in a dark, endless digital sea.
Which brings us to the climax of the song.
The final escape.
Exactly. After presenting this suffocating reality, the lyrics offer one final, highly ambiguous exit in phrase 7.
And this is the part that truly haunts me.
The translation is, slipping through the gates of Zen meditation, warding off evil in the pure land of peace.
And the exact cultural nuance here is, passing through the gates of meditation to flee toward a pure land where suffering does not exist. Is this a liberation from the physical world, or?
So we have 3 distinct Buddhist concepts woven together here.
Let's break them down.
First, Zenjamon. This refers to the gates of meditation representing the calming of a chaotic mind.
Okay, making peace.
Then, Onraku-jodo. This is the Pure Land, a conceptual ideal realm in Buddhism, completely free from all earthly suffering.
And the third?
Finally, Yakubarai is the traditional Japanese ritual of warding off evil spirits or bad luck.
It's that trailing thought at the end of the nuance. Is this a liberation from the physical world, or? That just changes everything for me.
It's incredibly ambiguous.
How do we interpret this escape?
Right.
Are they just finding inner peace through meditation? Or are they simply logging off the internet to go touch some grass? Or is this a metaphor for crossing over into the afterlife, like escaping the steel cage of modern society the only permanent way possible?
That profound ambiguity is the absolute genius of Kurosawa's writing.
It really is.
When you step back and look at the entire lyrical landscape we've just traversed, Senbonzakura is a kaleidoscope.
A dark kaleidoscope.
It spins together the breathtaking beauty and the chilling cruelty of Japan's history and its modern reality.
It all circles back to the title itself, doesn't it? Senbonzakura, 1,000 cherry trees.
It does.
In Japan, the sakura, the cherry blossom, is the ultimate cultural symbol of ephemeral beauty, blooming brilliantly and falling quickly.
A beautiful image.
But historically, particularly during the military expansion we discussed, that same imagery was heavily weaponized to romanticize falling soldiers.
Yes.
The kamikaze pilots were told they would scatter beautifully like cherry blossoms. When you put the word 1,000 in front of it, it evokes a visual of uncountable lives sacrificed.
And consider who is delivering this heavy, complicated, bloody message. Hatsune Miku, a Vocaloid.
Right.
Her robotic synthetic voice, which never needs to pause for breath, is the absolute perfect vessel for this track.
Why do you say that?
If a human sang this with raw, weeping emotion, it would be too direct, too grounded in reality.
It would ruin the illusion.
Exactly. The artificial detachment of Miku's voice allows the listener to keep dancing to that nostalgic Yonanuki scale.
Completely unaware that they are absorbing chilling warnings about war, historical amnesia, and the digital cages we inhabit today.
We just let the fast tempo wash over us, treating it like a game stage, exactly like the lyrics predicted.
It's honestly chilling when you look at it that way.
And that, I think, leaves us with a vital provocation for the listener.
Oh, what's that?
Next time you find yourself tapping your foot to a catchy viral pop song, whether it's on a rhythm game or trending on social media, take a moment to ask yourself,
Yeah.
what history, what generational pain, or what terrifying warning might be hiding right beneath the bass line?
Wow. Thank you so much for listening again today. We pick up various Japanese songs and update detailed lyrical explanations on our website. If you want to savor the lyrics even deeper, please check out the website from the link in the description. If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe to the channel. Let us know your thoughts or any song requests in the comments. Until next time, this was Japan Lyric Room.